I just don't think it's going to be a fit. And as for the Clippers go, you got to make a move. Who are you keeping? Do you just break up the big four, rebuild, get assets? I just know 4 superstars, they don't always line up. Just look at the 2004 LA Lakers. So I'm not going to lie to you. This season, it has not been what we expected, especially when it comes to James Harden. For those of y'all that don't know, James Harden, he was traded to the LA Clippers. And ever since the trade, the Clippers have been 0-4. And James Harden has been averaging a very poor, not normal average of around 13.5 points per game, 4.7 assists per game, 5 rebounds, and shooting sub 50% from the field. And coming into this season, we thought that James Harden would probably be back on the all-star type level, but he kind of forces his way into this situation that he's in. With the Clippers, from day one, I did not think this would be a good fit. And now, when you got all the pieces on the floor at once, if you look at the starting lineup, you got Westbrook starting, you got Paul George starting, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. You got too many stars with only one basketball. And just like today, the Clippers, they fell to the Memphis Grizzlies. And if you look at the stat line, the only player that was 20-plus points was Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, he had to sacrifice for James Harden. Russell Westbrook, he was playing great, and he had to sacrifice for James Harden. And for the Clippers and Ty Lue, I mean, you have to figure something out quick because you gave away some assets to get James Harden. You gave away the depth. You don't really have many options coming off the bench anymore. So it's not looking good in LA, especially when it comes to the Clippers. And to be honest with you, I had a different video in mind. I was going to talk about the Lakers and how I feel like we kind of been underperforming. But if you look at the Lakers, at least they're, still in the play-in contention. I know it's early in the season, but, they're only at number 8 seed right now. And we could still turn things around whenever all those pieces start to gel. But with the Clippers, I just don't see this working without one of those 4 players that I mentioned earlier taking a very big sacrifice and coming off with the second unit. Most likely that player is going to be Westbrook. Westbrook most likely going to be the one to come off the bench, lead the second unit. But I think Westbrook has sacrificed enough. Whenever it comes to James Harden, this will be his 3rd team that he forced himself to. Go back all the way to Houston. Forced his way out of Houston. Made it to Brooklyn. Didn't really care for how things was going in Brooklyn. Forced his way out of Brooklyn to Philly. You matched up with a MVP winning power forward at Joel Embiid, and that wasn't good enough, with Tyrese Maxey being a great number 3 option for them. And also, you got rid of Doc Rivers. James Harden was a real big reason why Doc Rivers got let go this offseason. So you got an excellent coach with Nick Nurse. He didn't even give them a shot. He just wanted to get out of Philadelphia for reasons that we don't know. Of course, he had his gripes with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey didn't give him the long-term extension that he was looking for, the money that he was looking for. So I understand. Force yourself to a situation where you see yourself finishing out your career and getting a nice long extension. But the way he's playing, I just don't think it's going to be a fit. And as for the Clippers go, you got to make a move. Who are you keeping? Do you just break up the big four, rebuild, get assets? You can still get plenty of value for Westbrook, I believe. I don't think he should be moved. But Kawhi Leonard, do you move on from him? Do you move on from Paul George? I just know 4 superstars, they don't always line up. Just look at the 2004 LA Lakers. Even though a couple of those guys were on the tail end of their career, but the egos, they don't always match up. And if you look at Golden State, time and time again, man, they have shown that egos don't matter. Chris Paul, which, of course, you know me, I was a big fan of adding him to the lineup. But Chris Paul, he has sacrificed. He's coming off the bench, and guess what? Golden State, they're playing great. That second unit in Golden State, they're lighting it up. They look good. They finally have that floor general. Just period. Golden State hasn't really had a floor general in the past, let's say 10 years or so. They finally got that with Chris Paul, even though he's coming off the bench. But with the Clippers, man, just because it's a big name player, it don't mean that it's going to necessarily work. But as far as James Harden go, there was this reporter that went in on him. And I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip, man. We'll go ahead and react to the clip.
Ask the producer to pipe this into the Clippers locker room so I can talk to you, James. I hope you're taking notes. I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. Because, listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You want to go to Vegas on off days? They looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night. They changed the schedule.
He's spitting some facts, man. James Harden, he has some talent, especially when it was in Houston. You got Chris Paul, which that team there was only one game away from making it to the NBA Finals when they had Chris Paul. Russell Westbrook, that was his homeboy. That's his boy. Still his boy till this day. Both from California. Born and raised. Played together in OKC. Played together in Houston. Now they playing together again with the Clippers. And, you know, it's just whatever James wanted, the team's always bended to his will. Is James Harden the most powerful player in basketball? Because this is, what, the third time this has happened? And he got traded to a team that he wanted to get traded to? But I'm going to go ahead and start rolling the clip again, man, because this reporter, like I said, he's going to go in on James Harden.
And it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal, Kevin Durant. It's going to work. The big three. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh, my gosh, I took this.
Hey, man. And just remember, whenever James Harden got traded to Brooklyn, man, I mean, everyone thought that they was going to make it to the NBA Finals, including myself. You know, they just was too strong. But just like I mentioned before, you cannot always put superstars together and expect for things just to work itself out, because it don't work itself out that way. Look at Denver. You have two superstars, which, do you really count Jamal Murray as a superstar? I believe so, but you got Jokic and Murray, and you have a team full of role players that know their role. They have depth, and guess what? They have the best record in basketball. Look at Philadelphia. I think trading Harden away was probably the best thing that ever happened to them, because look at Maxey, man. He's been having a career-type year. Kelly Oubre, prayers for Kelly Oubre, just got in a wreck, but he was playing great. Tobias Harris, he finally has the freedom, and Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. He don't have to deal with egos anymore. He mentioned that, which I might roll that clip too, but Joel Embiid said they're playing better because they're not dealing with egos anymore. And egos can destroy your team. The Clippers got too many of them, but anyway, let's get back to the clip.
This guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew it 3-2.
And this kind of brings you to another point here. James Harden, he doesn't produce when the lights are the brightest. Many, many times, time and time again, Game 7, choke. Game 6, choke. Blowing 3-1 leads, blowing 3-2 leads. He does not produce when the lights are the brightest, when it's time for him to step up and close out a series to get to a point to where he's never been before, being the leader of a team. That's not because the roster sucks. That's because you don't know how to get them over the hump. Anyway, like I said, man, the reporter's going in. Not one lie told so far.
2-series lead. So they fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with your guy, believed in you again. You said, the bright lights of LA, that's where I want to go. Let's see.
Shout
if
out to
that
Devin
works.
Harris.
Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
Oh, and the mic drop, Devin.
Not one lie told. And time again, James Harden has proven to be of such the problem, not the solution. Let's talk about James Harden. Let's give credit where credit is due. By far, one of the greatest offensive talents to ever lace them up. His stretch in Houston was by far one of the greatest stretches I have ever seen from an individual player. He could put the ball in the rack. They had to change rules because of James Harden. He is also an excellent facilitator. Led the league in assists a couple times. Of course, credit that to D'Antoni's system, but he is a very gifted passer because he demands so much attention offensively because he's so deadly as a scorer. But his flaws, he is a diva. He complains. He wants his way. When things is not going well, he want to run for the hills. That's not what superstars are supposed to do. Nowadays, with the current era of players, when times are tough, let's run. Let me play with my homeboys. Let me play with my friends. Let me play back at home rather than let me figure out how to get a W. This will not work in LA. Steve Ballmer, you got to make your move, man. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And I think now you got to look at a different option. You don't have any more assets left. You don't have any nice draft picks, at least till, 7-8 years from now. Build towards your future now. You got Kawhi, you got PG, you got Westbrook, you got Harden. All I see is great trade assets. Build your team for the future. You have this new arena that's being built in Los Angeles. Start fresh. I know you want to compete, but this team that's constructed, it's going to be real hard to dig yourself out of this hole. As you see with the Los Angeles Lakers, they've been digging themselves out of a hole that they built post-Kobe. And they have some moves they got to make as well, man. So anyway, I may do a video on that, man. If you have any opinion about the things I said in this video, man, I'd love to hear what you got to say in the comments below. Almost 500 subs, man. I appreciate y'all support. Appreciate y'all watching these videos, man, liking and everything like that, man. Showing love in the comments. One day, man, I'm gonna have some time. I'm gonna go one by one. I'm gonna make sure I acknowledge everybody that ever commented on my video, man, because I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. It's not easy doing this stuff, man, but with your support and you showing love the way you do, it keeps putting me in front of this camera, man, and in front of this microphone, because I love what I do, and most importantly, I love y'all. But anyway, I appreciate you watching this video, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, almost 500. And on to the next video. Love you. Peace.